night, and I'm Maria Shakil. Elections 2024 have taken an interesting turn just before the fourth phase. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has walked out of Tihar jail after 50 days. The Aam Aadmi Party, Aam Aadmi Party's leader, his release means he can now campaign for the Aam Aadmi Party and also the India bloc in the ongoing elections, in which Delhi's 7 seats will vote on May 25th and also on 13 seats in Punjab that go to polls in the last phase. Mr. Kejriwal will be on bail till June 1st, the final phase of voting for the 7-stage elections. He is to surrender by June 2nd. In his first public comment after leaving jail, Mr. Kejriwal thanked all the judges of the top court and called on voters to save the country from dictatorship. The court had been hearing arguments by Mr. Kejriwal challenging his arrest when it set the cat among the pigeons by noting it would also hear arguments for bail for the AAP leader. The court turned down pleas to extend his bail but said it would hear arguments for extended relief only next week. Underlining Mr. Kejriwal's position as an elected chief minister, a bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Dipankar Datta said there are elections and these are extraordinary circumstances, and he, that is Mr. Kejriwal, is not a habitual offender. This is a question of public interest, unquote. Aam Aadmi Party has called this move a game changer in favor of the India bloc. BJP has tried to pour cold water over the opposition's joy in the release of Mr. Kejriwal, noting that he would be out. He's out essentially for only a short period and will have to return to jail. Remember, on Thursday, the ED, that is the Enforcement Directorate, which had opposed the bail, had said no politician could claim special status higher than that of an ordinary citizen and is liable to be arrested and detained for offences as any other citizen. It had also argued that there is no fundamental right that allow Mr. Kejriwal bail to campaign. The agency also pointed out that no political leader had ever been granted bail for campaigning and said that releasing Mr. Kejriwal from jail to canvass for his party candidates would set a wrong precedent. We will discuss the legalese with senior advocate Mahesh Jethmalani on the show. And to decode the politics of it, we will also be joined by Delhi Minister Saurabh Bhardwaj. And also, the big question that we ask on the show, will this be a shot in the arm for the Aam Aadmi Party and the India bloc, or will the corruption taint hurt the party in the polls? Let me bring in my guests now. Neerja Chaudhary is joining us live. Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP. Abhishek Dutt is the spokesperson of the Congress. We have Vivek Jain, a lawyer of Mr. Kejriwal. Hitesh Jain, lawyer, also joining us. And we also have Dr. Shantanu Sen, a member of parliament and spokesperson of the TMC. And we also have Aam Aadmi Party representative on the show as well. Anmol Power, that's his name. I'm going to begin with you, Neerja. Would you also say that elections have somehow got very interesting all of a sudden?
Yeah, I was saying this, when we started off, it seemed to be a done deal and everybody, including the media, thought how boring it would be to cover it. But with every passing day, the narrative is changing, the conflict is sharpening, more strident voices, and now with Mr. Kejriwal's release from jail, with 2 weeks of campaigning left for the Delhi election, I suspect he's going to campaign also in Haryana and Punjab, maybe even in Maharashtra. So let's see, it's going to be very interesting. The moment he came out, he didn't lose seconds. I mean, he thanked Lord Hanuman, he thanked the Supreme Court judges, and he talked about ending the dictatorship in the country. So he knew what he was doing and getting to his constituency that he will address now in the coming days.
Okay. Dr. Shantanu Sen, what does this temporary relief mean to India bloc, the overall bloc? Not just the Aam Aadmi Party. That will be perhaps a question that I'll ask to Mr. Anmol Pawar.
See, Maria, in the early days of this year, the immediate past Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, was arrested. by the Central Investigating Agency. And after the announcement of election schedule by Election Commission of India on 11th of March, on 16th of March, on 21st of March, Arvind Kejriwal was arrested for liquor scam. Unfortunately, the kingpin of the liquor scam is Sharat Chandra Reddy, who happens to be the director of Arvind Pharma Limited. And that particular company has donated 60 crores of rupees to BJP. And this company has given another 5 crore to BJP in the form of electoral bond. So out of this liquor scam, if there is anyone who is benefited maximum, that is Bharatiya Janata Party. But unfortunately,
But the
because
larger
of
question,
sheer
Dr.
political...
Sen, Dr. Sen, while we get into the details of this case, and that's already there in the public domain, I want to understand from, the Congress, Abhishek Dutt now, that here is, the elections began on a note in which two of the chief ministers who were seen to be part of India bloc were arrested. Now, one of the chief ministers is out on an interim bail, and his exit has created history because this is first time in India that a politician has been granted bail for campaigning. Then what does it mean for you all as a bloc?
See, first of all, I'd like to thank the Honorable Supreme Court for intervening in this matter. We've always questioned the timing of Mr. Arvind Kejriwalji's arrest. We must realize that the FIR against, the EC FIR against Arvind Kejriwalji was filed in 2022, after almost 15 months. Just before the election, Mr. Kejriwal was arrested. And if you look at the background of the last 2 months, whether it was Mr. Rahul Gandhiji's membership in the Lok Sabha, whether it was the Chandigarh mayor election, whether it was the case of Mr. Sanjay Singh's bail, whether it was to do with the electoral bonds, everywhere Bharatiya Janata Party stands exposed today. The way Bharatiya Janata Party has been misusing the machinery through CBI, through ED, through income tax, it's only when the Supreme Court has intervened. Everything has come forward. And like I said before also,
so I
what
hope
Madam
now
said,
onwards, the opposition will have faith in judiciary, because just as every institution, you had questioned the role of the judiciary as well. Hitesh Jain, coming to you now. You made an important point, Hitesh, in your tweet that I read on X. But talking about it largely, in the domain of politics, I will take that question to Shazia. But yes, good precedent, bad precedent, that is left for another day. But this is first of its kind.
Well, it is unprecedented, but at the same time, what the Supreme Court has done, and I've stated in my tweet also, it has blackened the face of Arvind Kejriwal. Here, the Supreme Court has said he cannot go to the office of the Delhi Chief Minister, he cannot go to the office of the Delhi Secretariat, he cannot speak to the officials and the witnesses. Such kind of conditions and the release that has been made is ordinarily reserved for people who are convicted of serious offences. So what the Supreme Court has done is blackened the face of Kejriwal, and now he has been told that go and face the public. But as usual, Kejriwal is shameless. He will brazen it out. The fact is today he stands accused of a serious offence of money laundering for which he has not responded. The only thing what he's trying to do is just shamelessly brazening out
But
the
Hitesh,
fact that a
I'm
chief
looking at
minister
the
cannot
bail
attend
order.
his office, and
It
the
also
fact that he
says-
cannot attend the secretariat is
Yes.
also an unprecedented condition.
Yes, but Hitesh, the bail order also says no doubt serious accusations have been made, but he has not been convicted. He does not have any criminal antecedents, and he is not a threat to the society.
Well, Maria, I will answer this question straight away. Suppose if a person is convicted, suppose a person is arrested for murder, will he have a previous criminal antecedent or what? I mean, unless when a person is committing a murder offense or murder for the first time, that is the first time he will be committing any offense. So I don't read anything much in that. I mean, that is the ground where the Supreme Court had to come with some justification for passing such kind of unprecedented order. Today they have passed a very selective order, and I think after this order, Kejriwal should change his party's name from Aam Aadmi Party to Khas Aadmi Party.
Okay, so that's a huge statement to be made, that there is some kind of harsh treatment that has been given. But Shazia, as a member of the BJP right now, but someone who has been a journalist yourself, would you not agree with Neerja that the elections have spiced up?
Well, they've spiced up a lot. I would agree with you, but I want to make a few things. I want to state a few things here. So it's very, interesting for me to have Abhishek and his party defend Kejriwal, because these are the guys, these are the folks who actually flagged the excise policy. And it was Abhishek, who was sitting there in the panel calling this a victory of democracy at this point of time, who actually got the first pictures of the Sheesh Mahal and the brazen use of state funds for embellishment of Arvind Kejriwal's house. But let that be. Now, what I find very amusing is that the India Alliance is distributing laddus. It's a great moment for them. But can you imagine? There are 13 seats in Punjab. There are only 7 here. And here in Delhi, as you know, the sagacity of the Delhi voter, they know who they're voting for in Lok Sabha elections and who they're voting for in assembly elections. And now, if Arvind Kejriwal is out there, he actually blunts the chances, if at all he's effective. Let's presume there's a presumption to all of this. In Punjab, what happens there? The principal challengers to each other, AAP and Congress party. So I don't know what this celebration is about. Kejriwal looked very hale and hearty, extremely well-fed and well-rested. So what happens to all those crazy, sensational claims of insulin not being given and all of that? That's another story. Now, another thing which I find very interesting here is that this is an interim order. This has nothing to do with the main plea of Kejriwal, which was calling the entire arrest illegal or unconstitutional. So there are a whole lot of factors here that are in play.
Anmol, the point that is being made here is that this is a temporary relief which has been given with a lot of conditions, including that the Chief Minister cannot visit the Secretariat and cannot visit the Chief Minister's office.
So yes, when the BJP... Maria, can I just come in 10 seconds?
Okay, go ahead,
10 seconds. Just 10 seconds, Maria, because you cut me midway. You know, it's so ironical for Kejriwal, and I used to tie a Rakhi once upon a time, so I feel sad that the only place where he can get to be CM and do CM Giri is in Tihar jail. He can't play CM anywhere else. So that's rather unfortunate.
Anmol, for all the talks, here are 7 seats in Delhi and 13 seats in Punjab that you will be campaigning. In Punjab, I would agree with Shazia that there is that, dichotomy or chaos, because it's not an India bloc which is fighting. You're fighting against each other, the Congress versus AAP battle which is playing out. But the larger question is that here is the Congress in Punjab saying that Mr. Kejriwal went to jail for corruption. And here is the Congress party in Delhi trying to convince the voters, saying that Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party are together and hence they should be given a chance. How does this narrative really help you?
Maria, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Supreme Court of India, who has ignited a ray of hope in the hearts of people who love this country, who believes in the Constitution and democracy. Secondly, let me refresh the memory of your viewers. One of your panelists, I think Hitesh ji, was saying was that he is an accused. From last 2 years, the investigation started in 2021. Not a single penny has been recovered. There's no finding of guilt. On the basis of mere accusations, he has been arrested. There is no trace of proceeds of money that has reached either to Mr. Kejriwal or to Mr. Sisodia. And the most important point is the data which was published by the Honorable Supreme Court. It clearly indicates there's documentary evidence that 60 crore rupees were paid by the alleged kingpin of the liquor scam, P. Sharad Reddy.
Here and is the Chief Minister.
It
Your
was the
party
Home
boss who has
Minister.
been granted
Maria,
bail
it was
on,
the Home
for
Minister who
campaigning.
admitted on
I
camera.
have the court order. Just look at the words that it has been used. It is about general elections. It happens once in 5 years. These are the reasons. The court has
Maria,
not said that he has not been given a clean chit. Then why all this argument that you're trying to make? There's no clean
Maria,
chit for Mr. Kejriwal right now.
Please read para 15 as well. Para 15, fourth line. It says that appellant is the chief minister and leader of one of the national parties. No
Yes.
doubt serious accusations have been made, but he has not been convicted.
Yes.
Even the court has made it clear.
So
And-
that's a
and if
subject
you
of
see
investigation.
But see the chronology of events. See the chronology
Yes,
of events.
because he has not been convicted, but the
Maria,
allegations
but
are also serious in
let
nature.
me-
So let's not get into this.
let
I
me-
want to
let me-
understand the
See,
political
let me
aspect
take-
of it. Don't get into the
Let me-
legalese. Let's
let
talk
me
about
take you through
politics.
At least let me take you through the series of events.
No, talk about
these
the politics,
similar-
please.
Similar allegations
Talk
were
about
made
the
against
politics.
Sanjay Singh as well.
Talk about the politics, please. Yes.
See, the people of this country know that he has been falsely implicated, and this time, truth will triumph over conspiracies.
So, you know,
Justice will triumph over injustice.
what will you actually
Their
tell the people of...
democracy will triumph over their
No.
autocracy.
You can say all that. That's very good rhetoric. But my question is not
No,
being
that is
answered
fact.
here. Abhishek, let me come to you. Abhishek, my question then to you is, how will this really play out between you and the Aam Aadmi Party? In Delhi,
Maria-
you will say that Mr. Kejriwal is not corrupt. But in Punjab, you will say that he is corrupt.
See, Maria,
See,
Arvind Kejriwal,
nothing has
Aam
been
Aadmi
proven,
Party
Maria.
and Congress. Can I please come in? See, Arvind Kejriwal's party in Congress is fighting together under India Alliance. I'm telling you on your show today, together we will win 30 seats in Haryana, Delhi, and Punjab.
All that is
And
fine.
you
What will
please
happen
see
in
it,
Punjab?
And we will together win 13 seats. It will be a clean sweep for the India
All
Alliance
right,
there.
but Abhishek,
Both of us. Let me complete.
help
Let me
us
complete.
understand.
But-
Why, are
yes,
you
I will
not
tell you.
creating chaos in the minds of
Punjab
people of two
Congress
different
calls him
states
corrupt.
You know,
for your
I will tell
political
you something.
convenience?
I will tell you something. Bharatiya Janata Party, as of now, have declared 417 candidates, out of which 116 candidates are from parties other than Bharatiya Janata Party, which is 28%. Out of which 25 candidates are the ones who Narendra Modi ji himself used to call them the most corrupt politicians in the country, including people like Ajit Pawar, Ashok Chavan, Himanta. It's a big list. What happens to those people? Today, the moment they jump into Bharatiya Janata Party washing machine, they get rid of all their chances. And the biggest victory on the 4th June will be for the Constitution. I'm telling you today on your show, this whole thing of ab ki baar 400 baar, ab ki baar 400 baar will be the biggest jumla for Bharatiya Janata Party. Today, Bharatiya Janata Party is not even
10
crossing
seconds.
230 seats.
Yes, please go ahead.
Because the entire
Maria,
country is
just 10
seeing
seconds.
the
I
way
don't want to-
Bharatiya
I've
Janata
heard a
Party is
lot of-
Yes, please
misusing
go ahead.
I've heard all these,
ED, CBI,
there is-
income tax to fulfill their
Can I come
political
in, please?
greed.
10 seconds, Maria. I just want 10 seconds.
Yes,
I
go
don't
ahead.
want to give such long speeches. I mean, I know the television
please, go ahead, Shazia. Go ahead.
rules. I don't speak for long. You know, tell me something. The first thing Arvind Kejriwal said when he came out, and he says, "Hum log lad rahe hain तानाशाही से." Tell me, in any तानाशाही or dictatorship, was it possible to get bail like this? I mean, you made
Is it
fun
the
of
BJP who has granted bail?
Court
Is
is
it
not
the
running the.
BJP
We have
who
faith in the
I
court.
mean, Neerja ma'am, I
Under
would like to
ED,
ask you.
in
Is
Then
it
you
the
have
BJP
called
who has
Supreme
granted
Court
bail
also
or
as Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Okay, one more
Maria,
question.
this is the
One more
same
question.
lobby. When they do not get the orders
You know
in their
how-
favor,
you know how-
the
you
Aam
realize how
Aadmi
idiotic
Party
you
has
will
used the
sound?
choices of adjectives for the Supreme Court.
You are sounding idiotic when you are saying that
You're
when you are
sounding
questioning
idiotic.
the wisdom of
Okay,
the Supreme
okay.
Court.
No.
Is it
It is not the
My
Bharatiya
question
Janata Party who has the power
My
to grant
question
bail.
now is
Possible
to
to get
Neerja
bail
It is the Supreme
and
Court.
to Hitesh.
And they can see
You know
through
what
your
happens in
nefarious
dictatorship?
designs.
Do you have any
No.
idea?
The problem with that
They
argument
have
that
questioned
Mona-
the timing of arrest.
ये election
The
चल रहे हैं
Supreme
भाई.
Court has questioned the timing of
Okay, let's
arrest.
have
Out of
Neerja on the
contest
screen now,
election.
please.
Would you
Neerja
get
and
a bail
Hitesh.
in
Only
a
Neerja and
dictatorship?
Hitesh on the screen. Yes. Neerja, even till now, the opposition has been raising questions on the manner of elections. They have been saying that the elections do not have level playing field. The allegations are that this is not a free and fair election and what not, including EVM and multiple questions have been raised on the manner of elections. Now here is Mr. Kejriwal who has got bail, interim bail from Supreme Court, which is unprecedented. Does that argument hold then of level playing field or absence of it?
Look, this you raise a very important question because the criticism about him being put in jail was in the middle of elections when no charges had been framed. It's not as if he was convicted. It's not as if charges had been framed against him. Sitting CM in the middle of election when the process had got underway. And I find, the point I want to make is this. I find that in Delhi, there has been growing sympathy for Kejriwal, even from people who have never voted for the Aam Aadmi Party and have been very critical. The poorer sections, of course, there's sympathy. But even in the middle class, I found in the last weeks, there's growing sympathy for that very reason. Now, the question in my mind is this. Now that he's been released by the court, will that sympathy go down? That little bit? I don't know. I think there's too short a period left now. Only 2 weeks of campaigning is too short a period for that to happen is my suspicion. And he will, as we know of him, he will go to town to, take advantage of every moment in the way he thinks so, politically.
So will that sympathy really go? But what does it do to the entire argument by various political parties and politicians that there is no level playing field? Vivek Jain, Mr. Kejriwal's lawyer is joining us before I bring Hitesh. Vivek, the argument was that the timing of the arrest was just before the general elections. There is an absence of level playing field is what you had argued. That's what the opposition argues in general. But now, do you think that has been corrected, if anything, with this bail?
Well, if your question is whether it's corrected or not. Well, answer would be in the first place, he shouldn't have been arrested on 21st of March. Having election on 16th of March, model code of conduct being there, he shouldn't have been 21st of March. Fully corrected, obviously it's not. But you have to appreciate that Supreme Court has addressed that argument, has appreciated the argument that there has to be a level playing field. Now, when a level playing field, it means that the opposition should get some kind of a space for public and raise issues of public welfare or public issues which are already there. Don't allow the national leader of a national party to go and campaign in a junction which happens once in 5 years. Now, this is something which you are tinkering with the basic structure, because free and fair election is the basic structure.
Yes.
Now, as far as the timing of arrest is, I think the whole town, the whole world knows that the investigation is going on since August of 22. Now, since August of 2022, you've been making allegations, and every newspaper, everything is pasted with the allegations. Now, having made all those allegations since last 1.5 years or 20 months, you have chosen to arrest him in the middle of general election. Now, what is that? This means that you want to skew the election in the favor, in your own favor.
One point that is being made here, Vivek, is you have talked about the timing of the arrest, but since the arrest was under PMLA, and given how stringent that law is and the provisions of that law is, this kind of an interim bail being given to someone who was arrested under PMLA, the argument being made by those in the legal fraternity also is that this sets a bad precedent.
No, absolutely not. Our system is still a system where liberty is cherished. It is as tenacious as it could be. That's what Justice Sanjeev Khanna said in the Manish Sisodia's order. We cherish liberty still. We are still in the nation which cherishes liberty. Now, why we raise that issue is because of the fact that, see, this whole issue is political. Now, when you have political issues and when you have the same material, see, one of the issues which were, and the matter is sub judice, I don't want to comment so much because I'm appearing in the matter. But one of the issues which were raised, and obviously it's there in the media everywhere, is that you have that material with you since last 8-9 months. Why didn't you arrest then? That's the question which we asked the court, and court is considering. I'm not saying that they are going to eventually hold in our favor, but that is something which is sub judice, and it would have weighed somewhere with the court to see if this material was there, and where was the necessity to arrest. Because one of the most important principle under Section 19, which you just said, under PMLA, is the necessity to arrest somebody. That has to also be satisfied apart from various other grounds you have on merits.
Okay. Hitesh, please come in on this.
Yeah, Maria, see two things. Supreme Court has noted with great concern that it is a serious matter that he has evaded the summons for 9 times. For all along, on the flimsiest of ground, he has evaded the summons. There were no responses given by him. So this arrest was invited by Mr. Kejriwal himself. As far as the timing is concerned, as far as politician or chief minister is concerned, you do not get special privileges that merely because elections are round the corner, you cannot be arrested. Now let me answer. Nirja is a seasoned journalist and she's making a point that, oh, charges are not framed and people are not arrested. Well, people are arrested before framing of charges. So it is not something that people have commonly, routinely, people are arrested. That is the reason of investigation. After investigation, arrest, charge sheet, and then comes the question of framing of charges is concerned. Now, third thing, they are saying that he is not convicted. Obviously, he is not going to be convicted. There is no kangaroo's court. There is an investigation. There is a charge sheet that is filed. Charges are framed. Trial is conducted. And then he is going to be convicted. So to say that a person can, Kejriwal, oh well, I understand. They think they have a special privilege. Supreme Court has given them a special privilege. They belong to Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Kejriwal is a special man. So he has to be arrested only after conviction. He cannot be arrested like a common man is arrested before the investigation if there is a prima facie case.
Now,
so
let me go back to the
the
politicians.
hypocrisy of Aam Aadmi Party. Maria, let me finish in 10 seconds. Mr. Kejriwal wants special privileges. He thinks he's above the law. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court has passed an unprecedented order. If that is the case, what is the fault of Manish Sisodia? What is Hemant Soren? Why is K. Kavita in the jail? So I don't think the Supreme Court also meant this is democracy and all. This is an order which is like akin to a parole or a furlough, and such privileges are only granted to people who are convicted of the criminal offence. So according to me, Kejriwal will go to the public shamelessly and brazen, and people are also aware. So this whole liquor scam, the merits of the liquor scam, which was not being discussed, will now be discussed amidst the campaign.
Okay, so the merits of the liquor scam will be discussed in Delhi, which is not being discussed so far. Are you not worried about that, Anmol?
The people of Delhi very well understands the nefarious designs of Bharatiya Janata Party and Enforcement Directorate. And Mr. Hitesh, what is shameful and disgraceful is that you are resorting to casting aspersions on the Honorable Supreme Court of India, on the decision which they have passed today. You want the Honorable Supreme Court to infringe the right to liberty of a person who is behind bars on just mere accusations.
We don't use the
you have not
Twitter
even filed charge
to attack and criticize the Supreme Court when the orders are not on the favor. We are only saying this is an unprecedented order where you have passed
from last 2 years you have not filed a charge sheet. There's no shred of evidence. There's no proceeds of money. There's no trace of proceeds of money. And the only basis on the which your case is hinging upon is 4 tainted approvers. One of the approver who donated 60 crore rupees to Bharatiya Janata Party. The other is the one for whom Prime Minister Narendra Modi is campaigning in Lok Sabha elections.
Where he has
the
been
third is
on
his
the
son,
bail for campaigning
who
and
gave
not on the
initially
merit.
8 statements in
Don't
favor
argue
of Mr.
as if the
Kejriwal
Supreme Court has
and
passed
then
an order on
overturned.
merit.
Okay,
And
it's
gave
very
9
clear
statements
don't
that
argue
the
as if
argument
Supreme Court
before
has
the Supreme Court
imposed
was
on
this,
the
that
merit.
here is
He's
a
just
leader
been given a
and
temporary
convener
bail
of a
for
political party.
This is the reality of this so-called liquor scam.
And of course, the elections happen once in 5 years, and hence she should be granted bail for campaigning. This comes with
the
lot of
Honorable
conditions,
Maria, the
including that he
Honorable
cannot.
Supreme
No, Abhishek.
There is
Abhishek,
no order
come
on the
this.
merit. So
Maria,
please
the
don't
Honorable
argue as if
Supreme
the
Court-
Supreme
What
Court
does
has
it do
Maria.
to your
The timing of
entire
arrest.
argument of India bloc? What does it do to the argument that are you not again trying to put focus on liquor policy, because the BJP will be raking it up that here is a chief minister who has got temporary bail only for campaigning and he is in jail
The
because of
liquor
these
policy.
reasons.
See, Maria, there should be a debate on liquor policy, and 3 questions must be asked in that debate.
And he has to go back
First,
to the jail on second.
Can I please complete?
Yes,
He's
please
going
go
back
ahead.
to the jail.
First question should be, why the then LG, Mr. Anil Baijal, till today has not been questioned on the policy? Second, who are these people who've given donation to Bharatiya Janata Party? Those who were convicted and got a ticket to fight under the NDA alliance. Third, and the most important question that needs to be asked is, why for 18 months Bharatiya Janata Party never took action against Arvind Kejriwal ji. Maria, one more thing I want to tell you today on your show. When you talk about free and fair election, today one India Alliance group went to see the Election Commission on two very important points. First point is, there are 10 complaints filed by the Congress and the India Alliance against the Election Code of Conduct being misused by the Prime Minister and the Home Minister. And the Election Commission is summoning the President of the party.
The very fact that they do not have any answers, they are running away from the question.
7% vote share, 7% vote have increased by the Election Commission.
I think the answer to that has been given, Abhishek.
Abhishek, answer the question.
Yes, please.
Why are you dodging the question?
Abhishek, my limited request would be,
Mr. Jain, I will never dodge the question.
Please
I'll
read
call
the
spade a
letter
spade.
which has been
We will
sent
debate
by the
on that.
Election
If
Commission.
Maria will arrange a
See,
debate.
there are too many people talking. Let me
also.
speak. I can't.
One moment,
Let
Abhishek.
me speak.
One moment.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Please read the letter which has been sent to the Congress party by the Election Commission.
Yes,
My
please.
question is that this
One
chart of
second.
level
That
playing
letter
field,
was
will it
sent
hold
5
from
minutes
today
before the
onwards? I'm not too
delegation
sure about
reached over there.
it because you cannot continue to question the entire electoral process. The people of this country have faith in elections. They are going to cast their vote. And if they feel that there are these parties in opposition who are constantly saying that there is problem with it, why are you shaking up their belief and the faith? So there is a problem with that.
No, Maria, 1 second. You cast your vote, but the vote percentage doesn't increase by 7%. It has never
That
happened in
has
the
been
history.
explained
In
by the Election
2019.
Commission,
No,
Abhishek.
it has not been. 5 minutes before the delegation
again,
reached,
Maria,
they
allow me
updated
to
it.
come in.
Okay, Shazia,
Maria,
please
very
speak.
unfair.
Punjab Congress is saying
Maria,
Kejriwal is
very
corrupt.
unfair. I've got the least
Shazia,
amount of
Shazia.
time.
Maria, let him answer. Why
You know,
is
you have-
Punjab Congress calling Kejriwal corrupt and alleging a similar scam in Punjab by Bhagwant
Congress
Mann?
is calling Mr.
No,
Congress
please
is
answer
calling-
the question. Punjab Congress is calling Arvind Kejriwal corrupt and they are doing the scam on the similar
Okay, I want
scam in
Shazia
Punjab.
on the screen, please.
Maria, can I come
Shazia
in,
hasn't
please?
got a chance to speak. Shazia, please.
Yes. So, Maria, two things here. It's very embarrassing for Congress really to defend Kejriwal because obviously they're fighting with each other in Punjab and 13 is a bigger number than 7. But the fact of the matter is that it is Aam Aadmi Party which has gobbled up Congress in both the states. And not just that, it is Congress Party which actually shone a light to the scam that has happened. Manish Sisodia is in jail. There have been so many arrests made. They keep talking about electoral bonds and this person Sharath, who's somebody who's been given a ticket by the TDP party. So they're trying to connect it all. They know there's a difference between kickbacks and corruption and electoral bonds, which have only recently been struck as unconstitutional. Not just that, when an accused becomes an approver, it is also a constitutionally mandated and a court mandated decision. It is not done by ET alone. So please stop spreading these lies. And we will go to every street of Delhi. It's great that Kejriwal is out because we will talk about the
Okay, what does
details
it do
of
to your
how the
electoral
Sharab Ghotala
prospects?
And how much
Okay, what
revenue
does
got
it do
lost,
to your
what
electoral
happened,
prospects,
who were Hawala dealers.
BJP because they failed to answer this
Dinesh Arora,
question.
Amit Arora, and why has Manish Sisodia not been out at all?
Why are you not answering that? Why did you take 60 crore from the kingpin of the liquor
What does it
scam?
do to your
T.
election
Sharad
campaign?
Reddy.
You agree to the fact that
Anmol,
Manish
Anmol.
Sisodia is
Anmol,
extremely corrupt.
What
You
does
know,
it
you
do
agree-
to, does it
if
really
you agree
give
with
fillip
what
to the
Supreme Court
election
has done
campaign?
vis-a-vis Kejriwal,
Yes, it
you
is
have to
turned
agree
out to
with
be
what
very
Supreme
interesting
Court has
because
done with
Mr.
Manish
Kejriwal,
Sisodia.
the moment he came out, he came out all guns blazing against the BJP and the centre. But what does it do? Will Mr. Kejriwal be campaigning only in Delhi and Punjab, or will he be campaigning in other parts of India for the India bloc?
See, Maria, the release of Mr. Kejriwal, it has injected energy into our party cadre, and it will be a significant boost for the India Alliance ahead of the elections. He'll campaign all over the place wherever the candidates of India Alliance are contesting, because his popularity and leadership, they are instrumental assets to the India Alliance, and it will certainly bolster the prospects in the electoral arena.
Okay, it will help them. But Nirja, let me give you the last word here before I get the newsmakers on the show. We'll be joined by
Maria,
Mahir
please
Jethwala.
ask him who will Kejriwal campaign for in Punjab? Will it be Congress Party or Aam Aadmi Party?
Ma'am, will you
Maria, can I say
answer
one
that?
thing?
Why did your party take 60 crore bribe from the alleged kingpin of the liquor
No, you
scam?
can't answer this.
Or you'll just keep on
Neerja,
laughing on
Neerja
yourself?
on the
You go on
screen.
repeating
Neerja
Will you
on
keep
the
on
screen.
laughing on yourself? Will you answer that question?
The question is that does it really help or does it not help? But certainly it has got interesting in terms of the chatter that it will generate.
Absolutely. And, as Shazia is saying, that, we'll now get onto the streets and oppose Kejriwal, take him on. Yes, it's going to get hotter and more interesting in the days to come. But just a clarification, which my co-panelists said, that you can be arrested even if you don't have a charge. Those points that are made are the points being made by the Supreme Court of India today, that there was no charge against him, no conviction, that for the last 2 years ED took time to investigate, hasn't come up with anything. Those are points being made by the Supreme Court. And I think if we accept the Supreme Court as the final arbiter,
Yes.
the BJP was happy when Sisodia was denied bail. BJP is unhappy when Kejriwal is given bail. It can't be chit bhi meri, pat bhi meri. Supreme Court is the final word. Either we accept it or we don't accept it.
All right, Hitesh, that was a response to the point that you were trying to make.
No, this
Can I
is
please
not
come
true.
in?
I disagree with
Hitesh,
Neerja
you cannot be
ji.
arrested
Neerja ji,
without the
please
charges
don't
being
second guess our opinion. We are absolutely for us. Supreme Court and whatever it says is absolutely unreproachable, and we have faith in the system. We have never. So we
Maria,
are not
can I please come
unhappy
in?
or happy.
That is
we are not
the
unhappy
reason
because
why
Supreme Court has said
you have.
or particularly
if-
happy by it. Please don't say that, Neerja ji.
Is that the reason why
Hitesh
you
now.
overturned the judgment of
Hitesh
the
on the
election
screen.
commission passed by the Constitution bench?
Hitesh on the screen. Yes. Go ahead, Hitesh. Hitesh, if you can hear me.
So,
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Supreme Court has definitely not said that if the charges are not framed, he can be arrested. Only limited things Supreme Court has said that we are making him, we are passing an order to allow him to campaign. Beyond that, we should not read anything. The only thing that can be read, that he cannot visit the office of the Delhi Chief Minister, he cannot visit the office of Delhi Secretariat, and certainly people will have questions for Mr. Kejriwal when those conditions will be debated in the public at large. So to my mind, it would have been better for Mr. Kejriwal to stay in the jail and run his campaign, jail do or vote ka sympathy, whatever his campaign was. But now to come and face the public, it will nothing but expose the hypocrisy of the Kejriwal and his whole argument. He was the crusader and he was once upon a time a proponent that if there is a simple charge, inko jail ke piche dal do. So same Mr. Kejriwal is now claiming and pleading, please don't send me to the jail, please bring me out, give me the special privileges, treat me like a special person. So this is what Kejriwal today stands exposed. His face stands blackened today and he goes to
All
the
right.
public although he will go shamelessly in front of the public, but the mask is off.
Okay, let's see what really happens. I mean, whether the public is convinced by him or by you. Thank you so much for joining us, Anmol Pawar, Dr. Shantanu Sen, Hitesh Jain, Vivek Jain, Abhishek Dutt, Shazia Ilmi and Neerja Chaudhary. We are slipping into a short break. After the break, we'll be joined by Saurav Bhardwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party and Supreme Court lawyer Mahesh Jethmalani. They'll try and decode this from the legalese and also from the political prism. Stay with us. What does this interim bail till 1st of June, of course, he goes back to jail only on 2nd, mean for your party, the Aam Aadmi Party?
I think it is a very big thing for not just for Aam Aadmi Party but for whole of India Alliance. It is exceptional that in a case like PMLA, he has got a bail in 40 days and that too for election campaign. I think the place where we are standing in this election is an election of no wave. There is no wave in this election. The government at the center has lost its sheen. People were looking at change. They were constantly changing narratives by the central government. But today when Arvind Kejriwal is coming out of jail, I think the kind of communicator he is, the kind of strategist he is, the way he speaks and it goes straight to the heart, of the people, the common people. I think BJP understands that it will be a, I think, disaster for BJP politically, and I think they did understand the importance of Arvind Kejriwal coming out of jail, because the way they arrested Arvind Kejriwal on 21st March and things started getting out of hand for them, there was a strong wave of sympathy for Arvind Kejriwal, and people were believing that this act of BJP was not right. I think if Arvind Kejriwal comes out of the jail, it will be a kind of a double disaster for BJP.
Okay.
And it will be a big boost for India Alliance, because in today's modern days, when somebody does a public meeting in Delhi and it can be heard everywhere across India, I think he will make huge impact on the election prospects of India Alliance.
Okay, Saurav, will we be seeing Aam Aadmi Party chief Mr. Kejriwal campaign not just for Aam Aadmi Party, his party in Delhi and Punjab, but for other India partners in other states as well?
I think if you look at Mr. Sanjay Singh, earlier he used to campaign only for Aam Aadmi Party, but today he campaigns for NCP candidates with Sharad Pawar ji, he campaigns for Shiv Sena candidates with Uddhav Thackeray ji, he is campaigning in UP with Akhilesh Yadav ji. So you can understand the kind of leader Arvind Kejriwal is. I think he'll be all over India and he'll be all over this election.
My last question to you, Saurav, because I know that it's time for celebrations at the Aam Aadmi Party office, and all of you have to head to Tihar jail perhaps to welcome your party boss who's coming out today. A bail being granted for campaigning, this is happening for the first time in India. How do you look at the precedent it's setting?
I believe that it is unimaginable. There is no precedent, so it is unprecedented, it is exceptional, and I believe, and the party believes, that it is not without a divine intervention. And this divine intervention is not for Delhi's 7 seats or 13 seats of Punjab. This is basically to bring out big changes, big political changes in the country. And I think the God has its plan, and his plan will be implemented by Mr. Arvind Kejriwal in this election.
Mr. Jetmalani, I appreciate your time. For the first time in India, a politician in jail has been granted bail for campaigning. And the Supreme Court has also said that 21 days here or there should not make much of a difference. How do you look at this order?
Well, I mean, in a sense, the court is right. The 21 days interim bail is not going to, heavens are not going to fall. But the point is that, I have a difficulty with the judgment on the question of principle, right? First of all, bail should never be given or refused on extraneous. There is a bail jurisprudence. The Criminal Procedure Code gives you some broad guidelines as to when bail should be given or when it should be refused. And a lot of it is left to judicial discretion, right? But, I just want to quote something, quote a little passage from Justice Krishna Iyer, who quoted Benjamin Cardozo, a very famous American judge, in the bail context. This is what he said. When you're talking about judicial discretion, how it's to be exercised. Judges, even when he is free, is still not wholly free. He is not to innovate at pleasure. He is not a knight-errant roaming at will in pursuit of his own ideal of duty or of goodness. He is to draw his inspiration from consecrated principles. He is not to yield to spasmodic sentiment, to vague and unregulated benevolence. He is to exercise his discretion, informed by tradition, methodized by analogy, disciplined by system, and subordinate to the primordial necessity of order in social life. Now, to give somebody bail because an election is ongoing and is an important election undoubtedly, right? And listen, this is only an intellectual difference with the reasoning of the judges, right? There are no aspersions cast. I disagree with the fact that they passed an order based on an election without recourse to judicial principles. Then there is the additional fact, Maria, that this was a man who since October 23 has refused to obey 9 summonses. That is unprecedented. 9 summonses of the ED. Who gets this kind of indulgence? Right? Any other man who did this, right, there'll be no case for bail. Then after refusing, right, to obey those summons, he then dares the ED to arrest him. Right? Now, the Supreme Court, to each his own. I mean, if they really feel, because ultimately, Maria, it must be said, judicial discretion is a question of judicial conscience. And the judge's conscience feels that they can grant him interim bail. I'm not going to cavil against it. But there are some repercussions in this case.
Okay.
You are giving interim bail to somebody who's flouted the law previously and dared the ED to arrest him. A. B is going to open floodgates, right? All kinds of people similarly situated are going to make demands for bail for elections. And don't forget, Maria, elections in this country are an ongoing process. There are many so-called federalists in this country who are going to say that we are more concerned about the state elections.
But Mr. Jethmalani, will you not say that in this particular case, the politician here continues to be a chief minister and hasn't really given up his post despite being in jail? There have been many cases from Lalu Yadav to Jayalalitha and even a recent one of a Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren when they resigned before going to jail. In this particular case, Mr. Kejriwal is still the Delhi Chief Minister.
Yes, but that's a moral question. I mean, Soren resigned when he went to jail. Hats off to Soren. But Kejriwal hasn't resigned. In fact, the court, because he hasn't resigned, has said he shall not handle any official files in his capacity as CM. So while one may disagree with the court, right, exercise of discretion in this case, right, they've hedged it with sufficient conditions so that he can't misuse or enlarge the scope of his liberty, right? The simple ground on which he's been granted bail, in a nutshell, Maria, is that there's an important Lok Sabha election once every 5 years, right? This is the 18th Lok Sabha election. He was elected as an MLA. He was elected. He was nominated as the CM by his party. So let him be heard in the public domain, because after all, elections are the lifeblood of democracy. So that's fair enough.
But you're also of the opinion that this will open floodgates. Mr. Jethmalani, the ED had submitted an affidavit last evening and they had made an argument that right to campaign for election is not a fundamental right. One reading may be that this order makes the right to campaign a fundamental right.
No, listen, again, I would not say that this judgment elevates it to a fundamental right? Simply put, I mean, you can disagree with that exercise of discretion. And as I said, I disagree with that. I very respectfully disagree with that exercise of discretion. But the courts have not put it that this is a fundamental right. They have not said it's a fundamental right. They've just said that Lok Sabha elections once every 5 years is a very important event. The man deserves to be heard by an electorate which formally elected. That's all, right? In public. And in 21 days, he'll be back fighting for the very case in which he's got interim bail.
But the Supreme Court has also said that let us not draw parallels with any other case. So it doesn't really apply to other politicians who may be in jail.
Yeah, but so far there have been no other parallels to this kind of an order. So the Supreme Court is right, let's not apply other parallels. When other politicians come, similarly situated if they are, as Kejriwal is, and they are rejected, that their bail is rejected, then it will be a cause for complaint. Right? So far there have been, I think, 2 cases, Jayalalitha and Lalu Prasad Yadav, who were not allowed to exercise a similar right during elections. And they asked for it, but it was rejected by previous courts.
But they were not chief ministers when they were in jail.
That should not make a difference. That should not, see, that shouldn't, they were elected. I mean, Jayalalitha was an elected chief minister.
But she had resigned from the post when she went to jail.
Yeah, but the fact
and also in case of Mr. Lalu Yadav.
Yes, but the fact is, right, that if somebody who's facing serious charges of corruption doesn't want to resign as chief minister, right? Fair enough, that's his conscience call. Other people did resign. So, but this is not, according to me, that's not a significant difference, right? He is a CM minister. He's a CM. That's because he's not resigned. His moral convictions don't propel him to resign, given the predicament he is in. The other two resigned.
Okay.
They could have said we still have an appeal pending.
Since you're saying it will open the floodgates, what exactly do you fear?
Well, I mean, all kinds of people, not just people similarly situated, politicians slightly differently situated, right? I mean, Soren has a good case right now to come on the same ground. I don't know how the court will distinguish it. I haven't applied my mind to the facts of Soren's case, but the court will be maybe obliged to give him bail if he so applies for it. So unless the court is saying this is a one-off case, but there will be a floodgates of other people, at least similarly situated or almost similarly situated to Kejriwal.